Good morning. And when I say morning, I mean not morning. Good morning. Welcome into twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham Day. Hey. And I do have the lurgy. As you can hear, I may have a little bit more bass in certain phrases and noises that I say, but it's fine because I'm joined by Mr. Bib. I'll read Bib.
Good after morning, Graham. How are we doing?
I'm all right, although I've just watched you, scratch your beard or something, and I didn't hear it. What the fuck is going on?
I know. I mean, do you want to? I'll ramp it back up for you. There you go, Graham.
The mic actually cut it off for us then, so we didn't get to hear that.
Oh, that's a shame.
Ill again? Yeah, I think I must have got ill again last week. It was last Thursday. I started to get. I remember I was on a conference call. I don't know if Bibby was on that one, and I had to turn all my lights and stuff off while I was on the conference call. Whilst I was on the call, even taking the hat off, I just felt like I had mega pressure on my head, and that headache has been there since like Saturday. Actually, it was Saturday when is it COVID? Do you know what? I think it could be possibly. The reason I don't think it is though, it is only because I've done a test and it was negative. But I thought I had COVID in December, but the tests were negative then. So I mean, I swear I had COVID in December, but the tests were negative. So yeah, it feels. If it is, I'm happy because I am not wiped out, which I have been every time I've had what I thought was COVID. The two times that I definitely had it, at one time that I think I didn't have it, or maybe did have it, possibly, absolutely wiped me out. Whereas these times, it's just, I think it could just be a cold. It could just be a cold that's lingering. Anyway, so yeah, headaches and stuff, which is why I had a headache on Saturday, and Tito redeemed the level 3 helmet game. But then took it back because he's a gent. What a guy. What is a watch streak? Because apparently, according to Twitch, I've sparked one off. Have you sparked one off while you've been watching us, David? For fuck's sake.
Sparked one off.
He's my brother as well. This is migraines. No, migraines, not your grains. Migraines. Yeah, I do get migraines. So yeah. I've had them a bit more often since getting COVID. I mean, how do you say it? Is it COVID? Is it a COVID? Is it co as in cough, or is it COVID as in cooperate? I don't know. Cool.
I suppose it depends on how northern you are and what your accent is and stuff like that. Because there's obviously football players that you're supposed to put an accent on, like Gundogan and De Bruyne.
Gundogan.
But no one's saying that. It's Gundogan and De Bruyne. Do you know what I mean? Like no one's putting the accents on these players. So I suppose it all comes down to your accent, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how arsed I can be, because I have said Gundogan, but usually I don't go Gundogan because that sounds like I'm saying wait.
Gundogan.
Yeah, exactly. When you're from Yorkshire, Gundogan's something else. So, but I'll say Gundogan, not Juan, Gundogan, but Wan, like Obi-Wan, Gundogan. And COVID, I think it just depends on the shape of my mouth going into it. Like where my mouth is left after the previous word in a sentence, because I don't think about it. I don't know if it's COVID or COVID. I do say both. I've heard, I can hear myself saying both. I don't really care to have a preference. COVID. Like, I think I might call it COVID. I mean, this is not a definitive either, but I think I'm more likely to call it COVID if I'm saying just the word COVID. Whereas I think I'd be more likely to say COVID-19 and call it COVID if I say 19. But once again, I will still, that's not definitive. I will still swap them in and out. Tomato. Tomato. Aye. I love. Speaking of tomato nose, how about tomato yes? And shout out to
my name is Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime. Maybe stop there because he didn't get the audio bit that you did. Shout out to Barton Wilson. My mother-in-law dropping the 6-month primer. Thank you very much. Yeah. Like cold. Yeah. So COVID. You say cov. I'd say co. No one says tomatoes because we can't buy them. Touché. Nice. Hope you get better. I hate migraines. I mean, it's not properly full-blown migraine at the moment. It was the other day when I was on a call. Like, literally, I'm sat here like this. Imagine we were on a conference call. Actually, do you know what? I'll show you what my conference call set up. I think I've showed you it before. So when I'm on a conference call, sit like this, but then I'll be like, I won't have that on. I won't have that on. So it'll be like, Alexa, turn off the studio. Alexa, turn off the studio. Maybe if you stop talking, Graham, you should probably listen to you. And then like the lights and stuff behind me aren't on, so that blue light will turn off completely. Whereas my actual studio setup, I changed to like sterile white rather than coloured. But then while I was in the call, like I was just like, oh, my head. So I mean, you're going to see shower / straight to put on a hat hair for this morning. There you go. Look at that fringe, Lego fringe. So then I'll go like, I was like that, taking that off, rubbing my stress vein on the side of my head. And then I was like, no, the lights are too bright. Let's get the lights off. So I took those front lights off and I was like, no, it's still getting worse. And then slowly, as I was on the call, everything behind me was just getting darker and darker. Graham, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine, mate. Yeah, just, yeah, nice. Let's go. So yeah, that's what it was like. Fun times. But yeah, hopefully I've not got COVID. I've tested. It seems fine. I'm not as bad as it was. So I think I'm just a man-child with a cold and should just get over it. Alexa, turn on the studio. Nice. Oh, Alexa, turn off the Home Alone house. Goodbye. I'll read Bib.
Yes. Hello, Graham. How we doing? Oh no, you got a cold.
Apart from that, I'm all right.
Oh, COVID.
COVID.
The old COVID-19.
Oh, I've just realised you've got a little bit of shadowage going on in your camera, like on what would be your right-hand side, like in the bottom corner. This like something just in shot, like almost like it's catching the edge of the TV screen or something in front of you. So like, look, if you get like you can see the Stream Deck, then to the right of the Stream Deck, if you on the actual camera, there's probably, I don't know, 5-10% of the screen's just got full on shadow overcast over it.
Oh.
There, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, what is that? Oh.
Is it like one of the screens?
No, it's the wire from the camera. I moved it out of the way, so yeah, okay. I'll sort that out when we go for the first news article. Yeah, I can see it now. The camera's just covering the smallest part of the lens. Yeah, okay. I can realise what it is.
Stop fondling it.
It's falling me in.
So immature. By the way, go to picture and just do
Nice. I've not got the experience that you have, Graham.
You saying turn off the studio just made my Fire Stick remote turn off my TV. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you know what? If it wouldn't cause me a world of problems, I would definitely be shouting extra stuff out to you now. But Bibby's not got Amazon devices there, so Bibby, fill your boots.
Absolutely not. Something somewhere will turn on or off. Yeah, the whole building will go down because Andy's got it wired to an Alexa or something.
Moved it out of the way to put it in the way. Yeah, exactly, Gaga. I don't know. He moved the wire out of the way.
Sorry, I'll clarify.
No.
So you know the little screen that comes on the 4K camera. I don't know why we've never done this before, Graham, but I've turned it the other way so that me and you can see from the camera where we both sat. I don't know why we've never done it. You can turn it all the way around so I can see myself through that camera now. However, there's the big, thick HDMI wire that goes round. So I'm trying to what is it? Release the pressure on the HDMI port so that there's this big, thick, heavy wire not pulling down the port. So I've got it wrapped over, but a little bit of it's just moved itself in front of it's just moved itself in front of the lens. So I'll move it while we go for the first news article.
Nice. Speaking about news articles, we do have a few of those to go through for you today. We're only going to be around for another half hour or so. Because we've been live for like 15 minutes-ish already, and we was late to start, so we need to get set up, done, finito. But we have a few stories talking about Xbox. Basically, it's shit, and you should all buy a... No, I'm only joking. Xbox. All right, settle down. Now, Xbox says it is not interested in playing the exclusivity game with Call of Duty. So if you are... I mean, obviously, the irony of me saying Xbox is shit when I'm sat here wearing a green Doom jumper, which is a game owned by Xbox, which is the green brand. Lol. So yeah, Xbox isn't interested in playing the exclusivity game with Call of Duty. That's the first story. We'll then jump into the fact that Xbox Series X and S has sold 18.5 million units. That is versus the PS5's 30 million units. And an analysis firm estimates. We then have a report that EA is laying off more than 200 Apex Legends workers with no warning. But on the flip side, the coalition, the devs of Gears of War, are hiring too. So swings and roundabouts, quite literally in the video games industry. Before we jump into that, let me jump back into the chat and shout out to Dr. Mike, who says congrats on Sunday. A Real Madrid player as well to get your first goal. Dr. Mike is a Newcastle fan. So he absolutely got mauled me. Absolute shit on me. I'm not joking. GG's. I mean, from my perspective, it was a great game on Sunday. Good to see. It was also good to see all the Liverpool and Arsenal fans getting absolutely triggered, whereas all the Newcastle fans were like, yeah, do you know what? It was a decent enough game. Well played. Nice one. so yeah, I mean, do you know what? I'm not even going to start talking about it because we don't have the time. But it was funny for the Mickey Mouse Cup, and I call it the Mickey Mouse Cup, so I'm aware of that. People going, it's just a fucking Mickey Mouse Cup. It's like, well, if it's the Mickey Mouse Cup, what are you posting about it for? Why are you even bothered? Rent free, mate. Rent free.
Everyone's called it that. Everyone calls it that until they win it. It's still, I love the League Cup. I mean, historically, I think it was always the kind of cup that you'd put your under 23s out in or something until the later stages. But
yeah.
I mean, City won it 4 times out of 5. So
nobody cares about the League Cup until you're in the semi-finals. At that point, you've got, depending if it's covered or not, 2 or 3 games until you lift the trophy. So that's it. You need to just win a couple of games. Jobs are good and nice. Nobody cares about it. But at that point, yeah, it's silverware. Seeing people that were absolutely screaming about it a couple of years ago and now going, because I'm not. Anyway, not all of us pool fans got triggered. And I thought it was proper. Ooh. I always said Thursdays are the new Wednesdays, and League Cup is greater than FA Cup until we win the FA Cup too. Yes, speaking of which, no stream tonight, by the way. There is no PUBG stream tonight because me and Lotus have had a massive fallout. He said some things that he regrets. I said some things that he regrets, and then he threw a shoe. So
he threw a shoe.
He did. He proper threw a shoe. I mean, he's in a completely different part of the country, but he still threw one. So we've cancelled the stream for tonight. Yeah, and tonight we were going to be doing some chasing core rates with mates. It was going to be me, Lotus, and the core boys. 2 weeks ago we did it, and PUBG servers went down. This time I've just thought, fuck it, no, we're not having it. No, I'm going to the foosball. Yeah, we're not having it. He is really heartbroken. I know. That's why he threw a shoe. Did you shoot Lotus too? That, to be fair, fucking, I'd have been fuming. Always said, oh no, I've done that one. He will get more than Karius. Who will get more than Karius? Oh, Dubravka will be happy. He gets a winner's medal at least. Yeah, exactly. That was a story that was doing the rounds before. So I'm intrigued to see why it's doing the rounds again afterwards. Surely we all knew that by now. Nice Xbox Game Pass stuff. Alex, I'm not going to read those out.
Nearly. He nearly got you.
No. She's like, what? Oh, never mind. No. United game tonight anyway. Yeah, exactly. So that's why we're not going to be streaming. I'm going to be at said foosball match. So we'll have to pick up crates with mates on Saturday. Lotus, I believe, is still going to be streaming, though. He was talking about playing games. I think he was mentioning, like, Sass was in his stream, Sassoul, so I think he's going to be playing games with Sassoul tonight. So if you are interested in watching some PUBG, I would recommend you go and follow the Triggermeister. As if you have other priorities. Sorry, Tank. Sorry, me. Do you know what? We, like... Obviously, behind the scenes, myself and Bibi, we work with a number of brands, and therefore we get a lot of cool opportunities in football, in the video games industry, and so on. And obviously, we've mentioned it a few times that we get football tickets, so we often get to go to football matches, and we might get some hospitality tickets and so on. Tonight is like where hospitality goes for hospitality, so that's the reason why I'm going, because it's like I can't even wear jeans to the football match. That's how snooty it is. Yeah, absolutely going to be sat there, pinkies out, yeah, eating my quavers.
It's not a whistle and flute job, is it?
I don't know what that means.
Whistle and flute suit.
Oh, right. No, it's not trainers and not jeans. So I'm going wear jeans, but I'm going to wear black jeans. But like, they're not jeans,
yeah,
right?
Of course. Yeah. Get the chinos out, mate. That's where it's at. Chinos and a cardi. Woo!
Nice. Do they have prawn sandwiches? Well, I've only ever been in this class before once, and they did have prawn sandwiches. And I did take pictures of it and put it on my Facebook, so I can find those pictures for you if you want. Last time I was there, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was in there. 2 weeks later, he became Manchester United manager. Jumps good. So yeah, nice. Is it Mickey Mouse Cup 2 tonight? Oh, you can't call the FA Cup Mickey Mouse Cup. Never having that. Never having that. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you know what? I'm going to talk you through some news while Bibby goes and moves a wire. Does that sound good, Bib?
Do you know what, Graham? I've never been happier about this situation.
Nice. Nice little bit of padding. Love to see it. Tom Ivan at VGC has the next article that says Xbox says it's not interested in playing the exclusivity game with Call of Duty. Quote, the best version of Call of Duty will be on all platforms. If fuck me. Oh, he stopped it just as I took the article off screen. He stopped it. Where was I? The best version of Call of Duty will be on all platforms if Microsoft acquires the franchise. Shout out to anyone that may be listening to this from our anchor distribution of the podcast. You will have missed Bibby just shacking out in front of the camera. So that's what that noise was.
Fuck me.
But yeah, but where I'm sat, you've got a full screen.
I know, yeah. That's why I did it.
Nice. So Xbox boss Phil Spencer has reiterated that Call of Duty players will receive full content and feature parity on all platforms should Microsoft acquire the franchise. During a recent Xbox On interview, Spencer was asked if Microsoft intends to offer Xbox players any exclusive content if its $69 billion acquisition of Call of Duty publisher, Activision Blizzard, is approved by regulators. As I was going into that, I saw the 69 further down the paragraph, and I thought, I've done it for the last 20 times. I'm not going to stop and say nice this time. And you said it straight away. Fuck.
There's no apologies from my side.
So yeah, when asked if Microsoft intends to offer Xbox players any exclusive content, if the takeover is approved, Phil Spencer said, quote, when we say available everywhere or not exclusive, we want to make absolutely the best version of Call of Duty for any player on any of those platforms, he said. I sit here today with a great game that's come out in the last couple of weeks, Hogwarts Legacy. And yes, there is a quest that's available on PlayStation. It's not available on Xbox as part of that. And I know this is part of the industry, Spencer continued. That's not the game we're trying to play here either. It's not about a skin on a gun. It's not about a certain kind of mode of the game. The same version of the game will be available on all platforms, which is really what we do today. Quote, like if you're a Minecraft player on PlayStation, I don't feel like you have the lesser version of Minecraft or Minecraft Dungeons or Legends, which is coming out when it ships. We want to make sure those players feel like they have a great experience on the platform they choose to play on, end quote. Regulators have expressed concerns that the acquisition could significantly reduce PlayStation's ability to compete, given that it would see Microsoft gain all ownership of the Call of Duty series, which Sony has called irreplaceable. In a bid to address these concerns, Microsoft recently said it had offered Sony a 10... Do you know what? We don't need to go about where we've been before. We know that PlayStation have been offered a 10-year deal, which is obviously a limited time. It's only one console generation. So it's a long time, but it's not a long time in the grand scheme of things, which is where PlayStation say, do you know what? You getting exclusivity is dangerous. Xbox, on the other hand, say they are not about that. I mean, of course they're going to say that, right, babe? Or do you actually believe that that is what they believe? Thoughts?
I feel like once they own it, they can change the goalposts. But I mean, I do think it will change the landscape of how we play. How we play video, how we consume video games with a brand like this. But do I think it's the be all and end all? It's difficult to answer because whichever way you go with this, one part of the camp is going to go, you're wrong. The other part of the camp is also going to go, you're wrong, because you'd obviously be siding with one of them. But obviously the 10-year deal with Nintendo makes you think that, okay, they can play nice, but what happens after 10 years? Like 10 years is an awfully long time, but it's also not. Like in terms of life things, like what I was doing 10 years ago is nothing what I was doing now, and the way that my lifestyle is compared to what it was like 10 years ago. My whole life environment, everything 10 years ago was just nothing compared to what it is now. However, in video games, I'm still playing games from then, and I'm also still, still playing football, still doing other things that I've done 10 years ago. So I don't know is the answer with this. Because for everything that I think, okay, I don't think this is going to change much. It's just that someone's going to be able to own. I could put, a first party is going to be able to own the one of the biggest IPs, if not the biggest IP in video games, and the other person will be at their peril as to whether or not they're going to be able to have this on their console. Yeah, I think it's a different. I don't think there is a crystal clear answer with this. And we are all just waiting to see what happens with this, including PlayStation and Microsoft. So I genuinely don't think there's a one size fits all with this. So I think it's daft for us to try and make assumptions based off of what's happened previously, because PlayStation are still going out and they are buying massive companies to be able to be part of their first party stuff. They've just bought Bungie. Do you know what I mean? That's not a small indie company that they've just ended up buying. They've ended up buying something that you've probably seen it all over your Twitter timelines over the last 2 or 3 weeks leading up to the new Destiny patch. Like, that is genuinely everywhere. It's still an Xbox. You can go ahead and play it, but it's a drop in the ocean compared to
Do you remember
what's
what the
happening
Destiny
with Call of
expansion is
Duty.
called, babe?
I've seen it many times. I spoke with Lee about it this morning.
Me and you both brain farted on it when we were talking about it 2 days ago.
Do you know it now?
No, it's something like, is it Lightfall? Is that what it is?
Might be
Lampshade.
We've seen it everywhere, but I still don't know what it's called. It's the new Destiny patch, in my opinion. But yeah, it's difficult to see where it.
Definitely Lampshade.
It's different. Lightfall. There we go.
No, Lampshade. Definitely Lampshade.
So it's difficult. They've got form in sticking to their guns, but imagine having one of the biggest companies as your first party. I don't know how it plays out, and I feel ridiculous just keep on saying the same thing over and over again. But it's one of those, get the popcorn ready, because we don't know what's going to happen with this. Like, I think it might happen, but then I also think, nah, it genuinely won't. The money's on the table. It's up to one person what a monopoly looks like at the end of the day, and that's the judge who's looking over this. They can have as many people giving their opinions and how many portfolios that they end up putting forward, but ultimately it's going to fall on one person to make a decision as to whether or not this will end up monopolizing the games industry. But what about if PlayStation thought, do you know what, fuck it, you've got Activision Blizzard, we're going to go and get Rockstar. Will Microsoft try and intervene with that? Because obviously then alone, where does it stop? But should we care? Should we care as consumers that this is going to happen? My answer to that is obviously yes, because if it starts to interfere, like, I already know, I've made peace with the fact that the new Elder Scrolls game is probably going to be on PC and it's probably only going to be on Xbox. And I've come to peace that it's not going to be a PlayStation game anymore. It wasn't originally when they ended up bringing Morrowind over. Way back when that was only available on the original Xbox. It wasn't available on the PlayStation 2 back then, and I made peace with it then. I ended up getting an Xbox just to be able to play it, but that's beside the point.
Nerd. Sorry, I just had some nerd stuck in my throat.
Yeah. Shout out to the Elder Scrolls but Law podcast, by the way, that I started listening to yesterday. You guys are fucking legends.
Shout out to VGC, who have just started a podcast last week. I listened to that yesterday as well, by the way. Also legends.
So yeah, it's do we make peace now with the fact that this could end up happening, and in the next 10 years everything ends up changing, the landscape changes? Like I said, EA could be taken up tomorrow, Rockstar could be taken up tomorrow, but would Microsoft kick up a fuss if PlayStation did that? Of course they would. They would put as many roadblocks in the way as humanly possible, essentially what PlayStation are doing now. So it's difficult.
It is, there's like so many facets in it. Like, if PlayStation said, okay, we want to buy EA, Microsoft would be talking through gritted teeth like, yeah, that's definitely fine. No, I'm fine. Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. It's fucking fine. Yeah. But that sort of situation right now. But if Microsoft weren't on the verge of picking up Activision, then they'd be like, actually, FIFA absolutely shits money. Forget even all the rest of the stuff that EA could potentially deliver. They don't often deliver it to the highest standard. Mm-hmm. A lot of it fails. But just FIFA alone being held to ransom on PlayStation consoles, Xbox would not be happy with that, and it's understandable, completely understandable. However, Call of Duty outsells FIFA. The number 1 and 2 games, was it last year or the year before now? I can't remember now. I think it might be the year before. The number 1 and 2 games across the year were both Call of Duty games globally. Like, imagine being able to sell a game once a year, but then still have 2 games being the top selling games for a year. What the fuck? What? People still buying last year's shit? Obviously, it's the crossover of the years. The fact it doesn't come out in January and end in December. Obviously, that's what it comes from. But it's huge. And where is it? Mark, good afternoon, morning, Mark. He says, there's a few comments. 12ed says exclamation mark moth, which is standard. Shout out to let's have one of these for 12ed. It's for me, but he can have it today. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. 12ed is 72 today. What a guy. You love to see it. Yeah. So 72 Ed is what he's called now. He's not. He's 39. Does not look 39 either, by the way. Absolute babyface, the sassing over there. Ooh, settle down, mate. Settle down. Translation. Please let us buy Activision, says Funny Asteroid, regarding Phil Spencer's statement. Pretty much. 10 years is a long time, which goes by in the blink of an eye. Exactly, J&K. Especially with the fact that 10 years, that is only... 10 years ago, The Last of Us wasn't really a thing. And in that time, it's been re-released 3 times. So Sony must be able to bring out a COD buster within 10 years, question mark. If it was only that easy. Yeah.
Do you remember
Mag, Resistance, there's been all sorts of
Killzone.
Shooters. Was it Black or whatever?
Black was brilliant.
And there's been tons of shooter games.
I think that was on Xbox as well. Whether or not it was a PlayStation first-party game, I can't remember.
I was kind of just going shooters in general then at that point. Even Battlefield, which has to some people, produced the best FPS games of all time. Some other people will happily say Call of Duty. There's no right and wrong answer. But it is Battlefield. But like Battlefield, obviously, has completely fallen off compared to where Call of Duty is. EA cannot compete with what Call of Duty are doing right now. They might be able to in the future. No one has been able to lift that mantle, even within 20 years, let alone 10 years. About 15 years, Call of Duty has pretty much had the FPS monopoly. Nothing has really come close. Maybe Halo's at times, maybe Battlefield's at times, but they've come and gone, and Call of Duty has remained consistent. If it was that easy...
just gone down?
No, it's probably just my voice.
it made that funny noise that it does when usually your internet goes off.
Yeah, no, it still appears to be there. It still looks like I've got nothing that's saying I'm reconnecting. So you guys can see me, right? So yeah, basically when my internet shits the bed, Bibby knows because he gets like a sort of out of my voice and then it's gone. So I don't know. Oh no, all fine for me. Nice. Okay. Nice. There was a stutter at my end. Maybe my internet tried to go down, so maybe it'll fall off in a minute. We'll see. So yeah, it's easy to say that, but look at where we are now. Look at some of the biggest games that have been out this year. The Last of Us Part 1, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. 10 years ago, the biggest games were The Last of Us Part 1 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. The video games industry doesn't like to move. So even if PlayStation did want to bring something in, I know, obviously, if you go back 11 years, The Last of Us Part 1 didn't exist, and that kind of a change in the narrative. I know there's obviously nuances in there, but creating something to take over something so established is difficult. Me and Bibby always have this conversation because we work in video games and we work particularly around football games. We have this conversation about why didn't Ubisoft just make a football game? Or why don't 2K make a football game? I don't know why I'm doing the but Manny voice.
But Manny.
Yeah, exactly. If anyone watches Manny on Twitch, OF Manny, then you'll know that. If not, it's fine. But like 2K have some phenomenal tools for video game creation, particularly their basketball stuff, and having that in a football world would be amazing. But there's a whole different engine, all the physics and stuff, all the licenses. You need 5 years of millions of investment every year to get competitive and so on. And that's for something to catch up to where it is right now, not including the fact that something monumental like a battle royale could change the landscape in 12 months. So it would be super difficult for PlayStation to fill that gap. Also, if it was just easy enough to fill that gap, why would Xbox be buying Call of Duty? Why wouldn't they just make their own game as well? And this is the thing. Like, I was listening to, it might have been the VGC podcast. It could have been Kind of Funny Games Daily. I'm not sure. I listen to a lot of video games podcasts, as you probably tell. But one of them made a point which I'd not even considered. Like $69 billion of acquisition to bring in what is arguably the most polished video game development studio in the world, in Activision and Call of Duty. Obviously, it's not perfect. No video game development studio is. But the fact that they've got multiple teams working across multiple different titles, bringing out showstopper, money-churning, cross-platform, multi-format games every single year, they are on point, and nobody is getting close to them at this point in time. So Xbox buying them, this is the thing I'd not even considered, is if me and Bibby buy 12Ed stream, said that because 12Ed's last name in the chat. Oh, we all, hi 12Ed, happy birthday. We sang happy birthday to you, but you weren't here, so screw you. I mean, happy birthday again. So yeah, me and Bibby buy 12Ed because we want him to be part of the stream team. Jobs are good and nice. We then go, actually, by the way, we need to change the way that you do your stream. You don't start with like 15 minutes of intro, which you definitely need to add to the start of your stream because we know you love 15 minutes of intro. And we start changing things for him. How does that work when Xbox arguably aren't making games as good as Activision are? Do Activision go, okay, you've bought us, but we're going to show you how to make video games now? Which is bizarre because Xbox clearly know how to make the hardware. Activision know how to make the games. So that's the conversation. But Call of Duty Xbox not being interested in Call of Duty exclusivity, I believe that. But I don't believe that. I do not believe that. And once again, I can't remember which podcast it was taken from. Probably Kind of Funny. Someone said something that we've mentioned a few times, and Bibby's mentioned it already on this podcast, is what Phil Spencer is saying is true as it leaves his lips. Tomorrow is a different day, and the truth is ready to be found for that day. That's not a quote that they said, but that's me paraphrasing kind of thing. Basically, Phil Spencer and Xbox have no interest in making Call of Duty exclusive right now. Doesn't mean that will always be the same. Just like they had no interest in spending 11 million on Bethesda to then not sell video games or to take games away from existing communities, which is a way of saying, oh, we'll keep the games that you've got there, but any new ones, any sequels, any games that you would have played on that platform are now not going to be on that platform because we're in charge and we're going to do that. So do I believe Phil Spencer? Yes. Do I believe that will always be the case? No. Do I believe that has issues for the consumer? Yes. Do I know what those issues are to a full extent? Well, nobody does. And that's the reason why nobody has reached a set decision. That's why Brazil have gone, yeah, this is great. And the UK CMA, sorry, I dropped something then, I've said, actually, we're not convinced that this is great. So even regulators can't decide across the board whether this is going to be good or not. So
there's always goodwill in video games. It's just for how long and who's paying for it. Like, are you paying for it in time or are you paying for it in money? And I believe that if Xbox was to obtain it, PlayStation, for them to have it on their platform, might have to pay an absolute premium. They might have to. Xbox will be able to recoup a lot of their losses with PlayStation having to come in and go, okay, well, obviously we want to bring this over here. How much is it going to cost? And PlayStation will just literally like, okay, blank check. We'll give you this product for write a number down. We'll see if we can match it.
The thing is, though, is like even then. Like he said, Call of Duty players will receive full content and feature parity on all platforms should they acquire the franchise. Full content and feature parity doesn't say everything will be exactly the same. Like obviously we've got the Game Pass versus the full price thing. We've got Game Pass versus PS Now plus Essential, Extra, Elite, Super, Free, Premium, whatever the fuck PS Plus is called these days. There's that conversation. Then there's timed releases and exclusivity versus just outright exclusivity. I mean, he said something about the best version of Call of Duty. What does that mean? That's not saying everything will be the same. He then went on to speak about Hogwarts Legacy has a PlayStation exclusive mission, and Xbox doesn't. But Skyrim has Xbox exclusive games now again, kind of thing. And PlayStation doesn't, or it will have, kind of thing. So, like, it's easy to point something that makes yourself sound noble. And Phil Spencer has done that quite a bit. And a lot of it has proven to not be the case. Not because I think he's malicious and he's lying, but because what he says and what the brand then wants to do at different times, different years, are different things, because naturally things change. So him using a Hogwarts Legacy and having exclusive missions and things like that, we don't want to do any of that. No, but there probably will be early installs and things like that, which just means that Call of Duty then becomes a content creator game on Xboxes, because, you know, if I can install it 2 days earlier so I can play as soon as the servers go live. Call of Duty takes about 5 weeks to install on my internet, so fucking that's a full season. I might as well get the fucking. So yeah, there's all sorts of things.
The Nintendo deal comes into it. Like, what are they getting for their partnership? Like, are they just getting a Warzone? Are they just getting a DMZ? Are they getting just a single player campaign? Are they getting just multiplayer? Are they getting all of those things? Like, I'd love to see what it looks like on the Switch, because again, the FPS market on the Switch isn't that great. If you're looking for multiplayer games, you've got Modern Combat, you've got Doom Online. I don't even know if that supports that many people playing it, and then probably a few indie shooters on there as well. But there isn't any quality FPS multiplayer titles on that. So what would that look like? Would it look like Call of Duty Mobile? Which I've said for ages, I don't with all the mobile shit that gets ported over to the Nintendo Switch from third parties, and it's just the e-store now is just fucking bloatware. It's almost as bad as Steam. Like, you literally have to scroll through to try and find the games worth playing. I'm talking like right at the very depths of the Nintendo Wii store, barring if you go over to like most popular games, you might be able to find something there. I think that gives you like the top 20 most bought and then most played. Like, the store is just an abomination. It's just full of shit.
I'm sensing that you're not the biggest fan of the content on the Nintendo. I gleamed that much.
Yeah, I mean, literally, if I go to buy a game on the Nintendo Switch, I'm buying a cartridge, and I know that's obviously something that I talk about all the time anyway, buying the physical versions of games when I can, if it's not just a digital exclusive. But just, you'd spend more. It's like trying to find something to watch on Netflix. You spend 45 minutes blading through trying to find something you want to watch, and then you end up watching it 15 minutes ago. Oh, well, that was a fucking waste of time. Genuinely, that is the Nintendo Switch e-store.
For me, it's you tend to spend 45 minutes trying to find something to watch, and you watch that Limitless film with Bradley Cooper again.
Yeah, Modern Family's on. Fuck it, I'll watch that then.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, of all the shit that's on there, we don't have the likes of PUBG Mobile, which would be. Imagine how perfect that would be.
I mean, I remember seeing a comment, not so much from PUBG, but from Activision or someone like that, and I could be misattributing it, but the gist of it was they want the same experience for everyone on all the platforms, which I get. But if you can't have the same console experience on the Switch console, then surely you've already got the mobile experience anyway. So don't treat that as a console. Treat it as a mobile device, and then you're just extending an experience that already exists. What's the bad thing there?
Yeah, well, maybe filter it out. That's what you can do that with mouse and keyboard on consoles, and then people who are playing controller or on PC, and then you can turn off crossplay there. Like, it would be another I'd say very easy, and that's just really putting a
sort out Nintendo. It's
it'd be really easy to do all of this stuff. But surely just being able to toggle a filter to find out whether or not you can use in a controller or using a touchscreen would be quite an easy thing to be able to do. Again, it might not be. I'm just seeing it as a little toggle. Obviously, there's a lot of programming that gets done in the background, but imagine the new market that they would reach off of the back of that. The amount of more money that they would create, because whether or not it takes them, because the port from mobile over to Nintendo Switch, I don't know if that's an extensive, you need to outsource it to be able to do. I don't know whether or not you're just able to lift that. I mean, I say this based off of all the shit that I can see on the mobile Android market or the iPhone market, and then seeing the exact same game in the Nintendo Wii store with controller options rather than using the touchscreen. Like in my head, I don't think it's that difficult to be able to do because I see these really low budget games moving over there. So I don't know whether or not it based on it being a AAA game that has a lot of different moving parts, whether or not it's just Control C, Control V over onto the Nintendo Switch.
No,
But
it'd be proper easy. I agree. No, you were right. It's proper easy. They should just copy and paste it over. Easy dubs. Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
That would be amazing.
I'm going to cut us off there, though, because we are running out of time. Jumping into the comments, Mark says, bet the guys at EA who can Medal of Honor are kicking themselves. They could have been COD. Could they?
They tried their very, very best. I mean, the last Medal of Honor game was actually really good. There has been some really good Medal of Honor games. I just feel like they definitely saw Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare, and it just run with it. Like the PC version of Call of Duty, the Call of Duty 1 and 2, I feel like that was definitely the benchmark for multiplayer games, and Medal of Honor just didn't react fast enough. I don't believe that they were putting out bad games. I just believe that they didn't move with the times fast enough.
Definitely. I mean, they tried it. What was it? Was it Hardline or whatever when they were trying to... Was that like their last hurrah-ish?
That was a Battlefield game. I think it was Warfighter.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, it definitely was a Battlefield. Thinking about it, yeah, it was. But that's when EA was still flicking between, like they were splitting them up so they weren't stepping on each other's toes. It was that sort of time, maybe a couple of years before when the last one came out. But yeah, they did. They took their foot off the gas and just did not keep up. And that's the good thing about like Call of Duty in that is they will take their foot off the gas, and all of a sudden Fortnite and PUBG exists, and Call of Duty is like, oh shit. And then they tried to put the foot on the gas, but they're a bit slow with it, and Blackout comes out and it's all right, but it's not really great and there's no content. But next year the whole world changes. Within 24 months Call of Duty were owning something. They saw assimilated and improved, whereas obviously the Medal of Honor teams and stuff haven't. And that's the thing that you're buying with Call of Duty and Activision. It's not just the ability to make Call of Duty. It's the ability to have, like, we used to call it having a secondary game mode. And that's classing your multiplayer and your single player is the same thing. You would add in zombies as your secondary. It then got called a third game mode. So you've got your single player storyline, you've got multiplayer, and then zombies became the third game mode. Then we add in Battle Royale now. So you've got a fourth game mode or a standalone version of the game mode. And Call of Duty does all of those things still, different years and so on. But if it, in essence, does all of those things. Whereas other games would have gone, we need to diversify and split those off and just focus on one of those. And so, yeah, Medal of Honor could have been that, but they would have had to develop themselves, not just develop the games. And that's what the money for Call of Duty is for. It's the ability to deliver that sort of stuff.
I feel like Call of Duty definitely did their A/B testing way before everybody else. Like they were just throwing stuff out to see what sticks, and then going, "Okay, that works. We'll run with that." And then they just expanded on it, and you can't catch them now. No one's catching them in the first-person shooter space.
If Sony have issue, they should outbid Microsoft. I think that's kind of... I mean, are you a fanboy? I mean, that sounds fanboyish. If you don't want there to be a problem with a first party owning one of the biggest, most market-determining influencers out there, then another first party should buy that. That doesn't solve the problem. That just misplaces the problem. It takes it out of an Xbox camp and puts it into a PlayStation camp, and it's still a problem then, but then it's a problem for Xbox users. And whilst I more closely align with PlayStation, I would much rather, if one of them's going to have it, it would be on Xbox, because then it comes free in Game Pass. Jobs are good, and I don't pay for it. PlayStation aren't going to do that. But that doesn't solve the problem. That just it takes the problem from one group of people and then plops it onto another group of people instead. But it's a problem that will probably be there in some way, shape, or form for the considerable future. It happened with cinema and films. There was a whole process of vertical integration where studios bought everything from the dudes that were painting the backdrops and settings and actors and actresses and putting them on contracts, right through to the people that manufactured the actual film tapes, right through to the actual theatres and cinemas, which meant that they could charge whatever they wanted, because every theatre and cinema that was out there was owned by them, and the ones that weren't owned by them had to pay an absolute premium to be able to get that content, which then meant that if, let's say, Disney go, oh, we're going to release the next Avengers film, and it's like, okay, we're an independent cinema, so that would be great for us to have that Avengers film, and then Disney go, yeah, okay, well, to get that independent Avengers film, you need to buy the Lion King 4 in like 17 different versions that will run for 4 years constantly on 2 screens. We also give me some other shit films. Give me some, yeah, we fuck it. You'll have some of those as well, and some of these. And then these independent cinemas were like, yeah, but we can't afford to run that because no one's going to come and buy it. We'll be running screens that could be actually turning as a profit elsewhere. It's like, well, if you don't want the Lion King 4, well, you're not getting the new Avengers film. So it's up to you. And that's where the danger comes in, is once you've got that much power and strength, that's what this is. It's about stopping that before it becomes a problem down the line. So if Sony should have an issue with this, which I feel they are perfectly fine to do, I don't feel like we should let something so drastic and monumental as Activision just be swallowed up by our first party without proper due diligence in this. So yeah, the fact that the CMA have looked at it and gone, yeah, this could have real world implications for the market as a whole, then I think we'd be silly to not listen to that. But we'll put a pin in that bit for now. Do you know what? We're gonna wrap things up because Bibby has 1 minute until he needs to go. So I'm going to jump into the next article just because it's an article that we've covered already. And it says Xbox Series X and S has sold 18.5 million units, whilst the PS5 has sold 30 million units. But Microsoft's share of the gaming market, combining hardware content and subscriptions, has grown. So even though they are 11.5 million consoles down, according to different industry analysts, they are still having a growing share of the market. We'll leave it there. But top line thoughts, Bib.
Yeah, outrageous. Like, I know obviously we keep on talking about how available the consoles are in some regions and how many they want. I feel like if it was a straight race, I still think that the gap would have been there. Maybe not as significant, but who knows?
I mean, the only things of interest to jump into further in the article that I'm not going to obviously read through, Piers Harding-Rolls says that the level of demand for the Series S during the holiday season, even with pricing promotions, suggests that it does not have the high-end pull of its bigger brother, which I think is kind of obvious and reflected in the fact that PlayStation only sells its high-end brother, whereas the Xbox has the S and the X and is 11,000 behind. That shows that people that are into gaming hardware want predominantly, not always, I only had a 1S, Bibby only has a Series S kind of thing, but predominantly the mass market, people want the biggest powerful machine, so that's probably part of the reason why. Xbox having a better offering, diversifying, may actually be something that's damaging their sell through. But a growing market share, an exceptional offering in Microsoft Game Pass, and add Call of Duty to that, they'll soon close that gap. So we'll see. We'll keep you posted. Do you know what? We're gonna call it there. We apologise. We've not got through quite as much as we want, but you know, the Xbox first party conversation is a conversation that can drag on quite a bit. We do have 2 other articles that we were going to go through. One of those is EA laying off a ton of Apex Legends staff, and the Coalition, that's the team behind Gears of War, are hiring for a bunch of staff. We're not going to pick off one of those articles because they kind of fit well together, so we might as well move those forward and discuss in tomorrow's episode of the show when both Bibby and myself will be in that studio. So do feel free to join us for that. Like I said, that will be about 10 a.m.-ish. But before that, is there what you want to add, Mr. Bib?
Yes. Thank you very much, Graham. If you want to help shape the 2 remaining shows this week, there is 2 things you can do. First of all, find us on social media. It's at Ice Cream World across all major social media platforms, or alternatively, get involved with our Discord. All we need from you is a URL plus your thoughts and opinions. We'll then give you our thoughts and opinions on the very next show, which will be live from this studio tomorrow. At what time, though, Mr. Graham Day?
10 a.m. ish. 10 a.m.-ish is when we are next back. We'd usually be back, excuse me, about 6:30 tonight. We'd usually be back in about 2.5 hours, but the stream is now no longer going ahead. I don't think we will get time to reschedule that in for a Thursday or a Friday this week, though. So if that is the case, which is very likely, then we will next be back, play video games on Saturday morning, 10 a.m.-ish, for Chasing Grace with mates. But do stick around. We're going to drop a raid on one of our friends, but until 10 a.m.-ish tomorrow, have a good day.
And stay frosty!